presence of Hamas in Palestinian refugee camps and also other Palestinian organizations that might come into action without counting the Hezbollah. The Hezbollah might still play it safe for now, stay out of it for now, but there are other factions that can operate. So there are many signs for the IDF to operate on all fronts. Of course, we are now in your worst nightmare scenario. They are in the drawers of the planning and strategic branches of the IDF operations to mount facing such kind of scenarios. Nightmare scenarios have been taken into account. The problem will be now the decision at the political level. Right. At 1 o'clock, there is the meeting of the Security Cabinet, and it's the political level that have to decide to what level of response they will allow the IDF. The IDF is ready to strike and strike hard. We know that this strike will be very dangerous for our troops. We will lose soldiers in that war. We are going towards a war. The Minister of Defense said there is a war. The Hamas has declared a war. We're a long war. There's a very important call of reserve forces from the IDF. Right. Tens of thousands of soldiers are being called to reserve.
It's not the first level of reservists joining, but more than that.
Yes, but it's a lot of people already, and they're massing them, of course, along the Gazan border. It remains now to be seen what is the efficient answer, because to strike hard, to bomb a lot of places in Gaza, we've done it in the past, we've destroyed buildings, we've destroyed offices. A large-scale operation it will not be enough. I think the roots, the main mistake of the different governments, we can't even pick up one. Most of the mistake leaving that the Hamas was a possible, even indirect partner for any kind of negotiation. Yeah. So if we had any doubt what are the Hamas intentions, we have no more doubt today. It's just to kill Jews and to kill innocent people, and it's pure hatred without any advance of the Palestinian cause. There is here no liberation of the Palestinian people. It's pure jihad, it's religion. And the last mistake, I'm just saying, not to have eliminated those leaders who are now leading this operation against Israel.
Yes, as we speak, scenes of slaughter, no other way to put it, in southern Israeli communities. And we do want to tune in now to Israel's police chief, Yaakov Shabtai, as citizens of Israel's south are essentially begging for help. Let's tune in.
אנשים לא ייכנסו לשם, אף אחד שלא יצא החוצה, כי במקביל יש את התקפת טילים.
אנחנו במלחמה, אומר המפכ"ל.
Yes, the chief of police wrapping up short statements. He's the first Israeli official to speak, saying loud and clear, Israel is in a state of war. And again, this joins hours now long of Israeli residents who are, with a lack of a better term, simply begging for police, for the IDF to help them as they're facing not just constant barrages of rockets, but again, the presence of Hamas terrorists in Israeli communities walking around streets of Israeli cities down south. And we do want to go now live to I-24 News correspondent Nicole Tzedek in the city of Yavne, one of many cities to be bombarded since the early hours of this morning. Nicole, the Home Front Command instructions could not have been any clearer. Simply stay home, lock the doors until advised otherwise.
Exactly, Ellie. I mean, we continue to hear just these interceptions happening overhead. In fact, I just left a bomb shelter about 5 minutes ago. A family right nearby has been letting us come use their family bomb shelter. It's something that they've been having to walk into about every 15 minutes since about 6:30 this morning, Israel time. Now, the family says they've never experienced something like this with sirens going off that frequently here in Yavne. Now, to put it into perspective exactly where we are, we're about 15 miles south of of Tel Aviv, less than 30 miles away from the Gaza Strip. So they say this is really unprecedented, and there was a direct hit actually on a home here in Yavne. I'm going to have our camera zoom in so you can see just the fire and the smoke that's still in the building. One person was injured and taken to the hospital. We don't know the extent of their injuries at this time, but we're told by firefighters and police who were inside the house that everything is completely charred. You can see even some of the windows were completely busted out. So we spoke to a neighbor actually who lives right nearby. He said he's never experienced something like this in Yavne. He said his daughter is now experiencing trauma, and she actually took herself to the hospital as well. And so that's what we're also hearing so many reports of, just people experiencing such trauma in this area because they're not used to something like this. And for them to have to go into their bomb shelter every 15 minutes, or with a family with 4 kids and multiple other people, and they're welcoming everyone who's around, because once that siren goes off, you barely have any time to go into someone's house and get to your safe place. So that's exactly why the Home Front Command is urging everyone to stay in their safe place, lock their doors, and really hunker down right now during this period.
And I can't believe I'm saying that, Nicole, but this might be one of the easiest scenes that we've seen since the early hours of this morning. Obviously, the life of a family completely turned upside down, but compared to, again, what we're seeing now, that might be the case in so many different places right now across Israel, as we still do not have a clear picture of the amount of direct hits, of casualties, of the scope and scale of the damage. The chief of police speaking short minutes ago and speaking about 21 active scenes. The term active scenes alluding to direct confrontations with those terrorists who infiltrated Israel from the Gaza Strip. This situation is still ongoing, and again, unclarity still reigns. And Nicole, just for our viewers here in Israel, let's give the clear instructions of the Home Front Command for the coming hours. Reminder, it is the morning of a holiday of Shabbat. Many people were planning to celebrate the holiday of Simchat Torah. The situation on the ground suggests otherwise. That's an understatement, perhaps. Nicole.
Exactly. And so everyone is just encouraged right now, when you do hear those alarms, really just stay in your house, because you have, depending on where you are throughout Tel Aviv, you have about maybe 15 seconds if you're right near the Gaza Strip, or about a minute and a half, which is closer to where we are in central areas here in Tel Aviv. But that is still no time at all. And I can still hear actually interceptions happening overhead as we speak. You can even see every once in a while the thin line of the Iron Dome intercepting those barrages. So we continue to hear them, but with so much action happening in the area, until you hear the exact siren, that's when we're going to head into the bomb shelter, because that's when you know it's the clear message that that's actually happening in your exact area.
Right. Nicole Tzedek with the rest of the I-24 News team down south. You will continue to bring us all the latest from the ground. Stay safe, and much more from Nicole and all the other I-24 News teams throughout the country, throughout the day, of course. Thank you, Nicole. Mr. Yerushalmi, 50 years plus a day. Once again, Israel is surprised. How do you explain this? I will not go as far as to say to give grades or deem it as a failure, but there was obviously lack of proper intelligence when it comes to Hamas intentions.
There was the only similarity, because on the ground it's completely different from the Yom Kippur War, of course. But the only similarity is what they used to call in Hebrew a misconception, the misconception.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a few misconceptions. Of late, there was an impression, and that impression was confirmed by experts in the security services, that the Hamas were willing to kind of negotiate an appeasement in exchange for socio-economic help to the Gazan people. In work permits, the Israelis even give more work permits for Gazan workers. There was a feeling that the lack of popularity of Hamas in Gaza would push the Hamas to better the conditions of living in Gaza with the help of the Israelis, with the help of Arabic countries. So overall, there was a complete misconception of what the Hamas is about and what are the Hamas's intentions. Nobody saw it coming. They thought exactly the other way around, that we are going to which was of course a mistake of more than 20 years. A lot of people in my branch, in my domain, always consider the Hamas as 100 and 200% pure terrorist organization that you cannot expect anything from, and you should not negotiate with. That's the misconception generally in intelligence. Now on the ground, there's many questions have to be asked after. Now we have to concentrate on defending ourselves against this attack, but after that we will have to understand how come such a scale of an operation was not detected in the preparation stage. How come so many rockets can be shot? To shoot that many rockets at the same time means that the troops were deployed and organized in such a way that the launching places were ready. You just had to wake up and in a few minutes join them. So why was it not detected? How come that a week ago, when there was a show of strength and the kind of maneuver by the Islamic Jihad, the intelligence services didn't see that it was a smoke screen for preparing this attack? How come that we have so many drones, satellite images, spies on the ground, informants on the ground? We didn't find there is here a problem with the intelligence for sure, but also I'm afraid in the first moments now of what is happening, a problem of readiness on the ground of the troops, of the crowds with people begging for help. In villages of Israel, when the army and police taking some time to provide that help.
A whole lot of time, if I may, and we're seeing all throughout our conversation here, the visuals, the images coming out from the ground, terrorists, again, walking around Israeli streets, Israeli territory, Israeli towns, fully armed. And Hamda Salhout, here with us in studio, Mr. Yerushalmi was talking about the misconception on the Israeli side, and yet, as he mentioned, there were signs on Hamas's side that something is going on. Let it be those rocket fired towards mostly sea area recently, those launches, or this parade to show the arms capabilities of Hamas a short time ago. And as you have mentioned, Hamas had been building up, preparing for this moment for quite some time now.
Hamas has been preparing. And remember, this has been the deadliest year for both Israelis and Palestinians. More than 200 Palestinians killed by the Israeli military, combatants and non-combatants. More than 30 Israeli civilians killed by armed Palestinians. The level that this situation is going to get to is going to be something that is never seen before, something we've never seen before. Mohammed Lif, the military commander, calling this a revolution, calling on Palestinians from the north to Jerusalem to the West Bank to get involved in this.
And Arab Israeli citizens as well.
Correct. Arab citizens from the north. This is going to be something that the Israeli military is really going to have to strategize how they are going to respond to this. It is also worth noting that Palestinians inside the Gaza Strip, a lot of them are civilians, a lot of them are people who are not involved in this conflict, and they are going to be the ones who are hit the hardest, just like the civilians in the south who were killed this morning by the ambush. The infiltration of the border is something that is really going to have to be looked at, something that's going to have to be examined, how they were able to get there. The Palestinians were also able to take Israeli military vehicles and are now driving them in the streets of Gaza. Reports of several hostages among the Israeli forces as well.
We're nearing the end of our broadcast, and I really do want to conclude it by your statements, Jonathan Conricus, former spokesperson for the IDF. A lot of unclarity. What should we focus on this hour?
I think Israel should be focusing on closing down the Gaza Strip, indicating to Gaza and all of the other terrorists watching, and the entire world is watching. Right. All of the other terrorists in the Iranian proxy network are watching, and the severity of our response, not just the early stage of the response, but what will come after, and what will come after that comes after, will be watched. And this, I think, as difficult as the time is, and we're going to see horrible images of Israeli casualties. As difficult as this is, we should see this as an opportunity to significantly change the status of the Middle East, to significantly change what Hamas and other Iranian proxy organizations have been able to do and accumulate along our borders. And if this isn't a wake-up call for Israel, then I don't know what is.
Yes, if Israel will not change the situation in the Middle East will change the situation for it. No doubt that we are facing prolonged hours, days of tough times, and Israeli resilience should be underlined during those hours. We will continue to bring you all the live updates from the ground throughout the day. See you at the top of the hour.
Hello, my name is Chana Rifkin, and welcome to this newest edition of Discover Bahrain. There are a wealth of beautiful beachfronts to enjoy in Bahrain. Life here is centered on being active and enjoying the outdoors. Whether it's an evening volleyball match or diving into an immersive oyster shucking experience, you will fall in love with all that Bahrain has to offer. Check out the popular Marafi Beach, which offers fun for the whole family. There are more than 17 water activities on offer, including jet skiing, kayaking, kneeboarding, and a water park. Choose from an array of delicious food establishments overlooking the crystal clear water and enjoy a beautiful afternoon.
Col pomodoro,